Oh yeah, now you're joining me today. We've just finished a nice practice session at Burt and Joyce on the River Trent. The reason we're here is for the upcoming RiverFest final, which I qualified for last weekend. Had a great match. It was on the River Soar. Sections were between Kegworth, which is where I drew, although I was there last year and sort of first and second were either end peg, so I was a bit slightly disappointed to draw there, but obviously it's fishing and you never know. The other sections that were in were one at Sutton Bonington, which to be honest I did want to draw there because I knew it would be very difficult and sort of suits me, you know, fishing for little fish, little bleak, little roach, some perch, not many bonus fish about. As it happened, it was really hard there, so thankfully I didn't draw there in the end. And the final section that was in was Normington. Now that can be good fishing there, but a bit hit and miss again. But the walks there are horrendous, so quite fortunate not to draw there. Although the walk at Kegworth wasn't great either. I had to unload a couple of times. Onto the fishing. Set me normal gear up really. I was on peg 14. Got there. It was nice. It was low river, steady pace. Set a gram rig up at 11 metres to ball in, to fish over where I balled in, sorry. So my plan was to throw in 5 balls of ground bait at 11 metres, start at 5 metres where a bait drop had some worms in for some perch, and then at 13 metres, just past my ground bait, I put a pot of emp and a few casters, and just loose fed a few casters and a few grains of emp over the top, thinking later in the match, hopefully I will catch some nice roach on emp. I did think, to start with, that I would catch anywhere between 2 and 5 pound in the first sort of 40 minutes, an hour, on worms short. You know, it's a great river for that. You can catch 3 fish for £1, or you can catch like 1 fish that's going to be £3, and like I say, £5 is more than capable on the day in such a short period of time, which is obviously a great start. That didn't quite happen, so bait dropping worms in, put my other bait in as we mentioned a minute ago, and started on worms short for 1 bite off a little perch around 2 ounce probably. So sort of set me back a little bit then, because I was a bit reluctant to go straight out on ground bait and wanted to try and persevere to put some bonus fish in my net, which didn't materialise. Onto the ground bait, and again I thought it was going to be solid. Little bleak, little dace, roach, anything really. Fish from sort of ½ ounce up to 3 or 4 ounce. I was anticipating a bite every chuck in all match, but just didn't work like that. You know, roach, some reason this year, everywhere I've been on these rivers, today's been an example of it here at Burt and Joyce, the roach just aren't quite having it properly for some reason. Not sure why. You know, you just have years like this. And other years, it's everywhere you go, it's absolutely lifting with roach. Back to the ground bait line. Fished over here for the next probably hour, so we're sort of talking hour and 20 minutes into the match, and I've had a few fish. Don't get me wrong. I've had a couple of roach 3 ounce, couple of little bleak, some dace, some small roach. I've had a few bites. Probably got 12 ounce a pound at this point, and then I've up to bonus chub over ground bait, which no one really expects chub down there. It doesn't happen. I mean, I've been there a few times and never seen one, never up one, and I'm not talking big chub, you know, 12 ounce to 2 pound fish. But it was a real bonus, and all of a sudden I'd got sort of getting on for 2.5 to 3 pound in a couple of minutes. This point, Sean, you know, Sean Ashby, he's my travelling partner. He come down because he'd already qualified, so he's come down just to have a look around and see what was happening. As he sat down, I thought I'll have a quick look on emp. Gone out on emp because Nick West above me had caught a couple of roach, so I thought best have a quick look. Dropped it 3 or 4 runs through, not an indication, so slightly disappointing as well, because it was sort of setting me back to where do I go now from this? How am I going to try and catch sort of 12 pound that I was thinking is going to be needed to qualify? Like I say, 3 or 4 runs through, nothing, and it's gone under out the blue, and I've had another chub on emp, which was quite a surprise really. You know, it was another £1.50. Put double caster on next chuck and caught 2 more in the next 2 chucks, and some roach and some little chublets as well, and all of a sudden I'd gone from like £1.50, £2 after an hour and 20 minutes to £8 within another 20 minutes, you know, so I was well up then for my target weight of £12. Back, tried to force it a little bit really, not with bait, just tried to keep going through the motions, tried to keep an odd chub coming, but it was just apparent that they'd shut up shop. They weren't going to feed anymore for a little while, so sort of left that alone and decided to concentrate on ground bait and worms, trying to put an odd fish in the net and just to keep things ticking over, but never had a bite. You know, not a bite on worms again, not a bite on even a single pinky just off the bottom, just trying my best really to catch a few fish. So it was getting a bit all or nothing towards the end of the match. Got 2 hours to go. Had a few phone calls about how it was fishing. Some people, you know, Phil Speakman, I think it was on the MPEG, he got a £4 tension, caught a few roach as well, so he was dangerous. Greg Clark, another one, he'd had a couple of real big perch. He was catching a few roach on EMP. He was on peg 6 on the last one on the boats, and obviously Lee Wright was up there as well. He was catching, he'd had 2 chub as well and a few perch, so it was all to play for all of a sudden. And I was thinking, like, I'd gone from paralysing it to I was behind again, and it was a bit frustrating really, because I couldn't make anything work. So set a new worm line up, an extra section down my peg, same depth, found the same depth. It was only about 5.5 foot. Bait dropping some worms in there, left it 10 minutes, went on it, and I caught 5 or 6 perch straight away, and it was good. Only little ones, you know, same 2 ounce, but again, all of a sudden I've had an extra 10 ounce to my net. And some bubbles started coming up, and I was sure it was a fish. Wasn't sure if it was a tench, to be honest. You know, there is a lot of big eels in there, and so it proved. So I think it was one of them, but I never caught it on that line. So again, I thought, with, you know, this, I've got 2 hours to go now, it's all or nothing. Fired in 12 great big pouches of casters, trying to make the chub have another go, and left it till half an hour to go. Had a couple of looks with no bites, and just tried to concentrate on this worm line, thinking that's me all or nothing, it's me gamble to hopefully it'll pay off later in the match. Back onto this new worm line, I'm now 11.5 metres down my peg. First chuck I've caught my biggest perch of the day, 6 ounce, you know, it was a real bonus, and things were starting to look up at this point. I'm thinking I can get a few bites and hopefully nick a chub late on and I'll be away again. Don't think I had any more bites then. I think instead of topping it up, I just left it alone, because I've topped up the previous line and never had another bite, so I thought I'll leave it alone this time and I'll go have a quick look. There was like probably 40 minutes to go at this point, half an hour, onto my chub line. Second run through I've caught one, switched to double maggot by this time instead, just felt like they're going to prefer maggots later in the match, just to change a bait really. And I caught 3 in the next 3 chucks, you know, and I was well on my way then. I knew I'd got a real good chance, probably just had another 3.5 pound in sort of 10 minutes again, so yeah, real bonus. Wanted to leave it alone again then, because there was only sort of 15 minutes to go, 20 minutes to go, and I didn't really want to force it, so and I knew I'd got another chance of a fish on worm, so put half a dendy on again, the tail end, dropped it in down the edge, 11.5 metres, and nailed a eel about 2.5 pound, which when it come to the top and not in a ball like they sometimes do and swimming on the top, I thought, yeah, I think there's every chance today is going to be my day, so I think nothing's really gone wrong, and had a great match. Then I couldn't really make my mind up what to do then, whether to have another go on worms or another go for a chub. So I had a quick go on worms, not a bite. Shipped out just why I left my worms really to have another go for a chub. Bear in mind there's only sort of 5 or 6 minutes left now. It's gone under and I've caught another chub, and like I say, that can be the difference really, from being that positive with my feeding with 2 hours to go. It's taken, you know, an hour or so for it to get going, but that's been the difference, catching those 4 chub out there certainly, and the bonus eel down the edge, which those fish would have gone, yeah, £6 or so, maybe £7, and I finished the match with 6 kilos 720, because we're weighing kilos around there, which I can't really work out, what's that, about 14.10, something like that, but you know, I knew it'd be close with that, because people are admitting to 10 and 12 pound, and you know what it's like on matches, people underestimate sometimes. I think I'm known for it. Phil Speakman putting a great weight, he was second in our zone really. He had 5 kilo 600, I think, 5 kilo 700, which obviously included a big big tench, nice fish it was, yeah, 4.5 pound maybe, and a few roach on him. You know, he has had a great day down on peg 20 on the end. It was, you know, really enjoyable for him. Back up to Greg, he was admitting sort of 12 pounds, so he had me a little bit worried, especially when I said I've had 6 kilo. He says, what's that? Trying to work it. He says, yeah, it's going to be close. So got me a bit worried then, and luckily his fish didn't go quite as much as mine, and he had 4 kilo 980, which was exactly the same weight as Lee Wright's weight, 4 kilo 980. Added bonus, obviously I've qualified over the moon. The walk back wasn't quite as difficult as it was on the way there. Get back to the results. The other 2 zones, I think Jack Jones from Bristol way qualified from Sutton Bonington. I think he had 3 kilo 650, something like that, narrowly beating Adi Reynolds by 50 grams, so a real tight section there. And Darren Bickerton qualified off peg 1 on Normanton with 5 kilo 100. I think he was 3rd in the match with that. So yeah, the added bonus to the day as well, not that it could get much better, was I won the match as well, so it was a great day out. Phil Speakman's weight was 2nd with 5 kilo, and Darren 3rd with a lower 5. So hopefully get another couple of practice sessions on the road stretch here at Burt and Joyce, and see what we can catch in the final. Cheers.